Welcome back to the channel, the ultimate destination for uncovering hidden treasures in your pocket change, where every ordinary-looking coin has the potential to become an extraordinary find that could completely change your life. And today we are diving deep into the incredible story of the 2004 1-cent coin, a seemingly common Lincoln penny that has stunned collectors and investors around the world because certain rare versions of this coin have reached jaw-dropping values of up to $11 million, and in this detailed journey we are going to explore the fascinating background, the minting process, the types of errors and mistakes that make these coins so special, the reasons behind their immense value, and the possibilities that might explain how such rare varieties came to exist, as well as why you should be on the lookout for them in your own change or coin collection, because sometimes history, human error, and sheer luck intersect to create something extraordinary. The 2004 1-cent coin belongs to the long-running Lincoln cent series, which began in 1909, featuring the bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial reverse design that had been in use since 1959 and would continue until 2008. So by 2004 these coins were struck in massive numbers at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with billions entering circulation, making them one of the most commonly encountered modern pennies, which is why the idea that a single specimen could be worth millions seems almost unbelievable at first glance, but when you understand how minting errors work, how rarity affects value, and how some coins slip through the quality control system with spectacular mistakes that make them unique, the story becomes clear. Mint errors are unintended anomalies that occur during the production of coins, and they can range from minor off-center strikes to dramatic double strikes, planchette errors, or even wrong metal compositions, and collectors often pay huge premiums for rare and visually impressive errors, especially when they occur on coins that were otherwise mass-produced. The 2004 Lincoln cent has been found with several different kinds of minting mistakes that can make it extremely valuable, and some combinations of these errors are so rare that they have been valued in the millions. One of the most talked about error types associated with the 2004 penny is the double die error, in which the design elements appear doubled because the die used to strike the coins was improperly manufactured during the hubbing process, and although double dies have appeared in many years of Lincoln cents, the 2004 examples are noteworthy for the intensity of the doubling in certain specimens, which can often be seen on the inscriptions such as "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2004. As well as sometimes on the Lincoln Memorial details on the reverse. When this kind of doubling is bold and easily visible to the naked eye, collectors go wild for it, and certified high-grade examples of major double die cents can reach staggering prices at auction because they combine rarity, visual appeal, and demand. Another fascinating error that appears in some 2004 cents is off-metal striking, where the coin was struck on a planchette intended for another denomination or even another country's coinage. This could have happened if leftover or misfed planchets from other minting operations were accidentally fed into the presses striking Lincoln cents. For example, there are known cases where 2004 cents were struck on planchets meant for dimes or foreign coins, resulting in coins that are the wrong weight, the wrong color, or have incomplete designs because of the size mismatch. These spectacular mint blunders are extremely rare because the US Mint has strict quality controls, but when they occur and escape into circulation, they become prized treasures worth fortunes. A particularly intriguing possibility involves transitional errors, where a coin is struck using a composition or design element from a different year. Although the official composition of the Lincoln cent in 2004 was 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, there have been persistent rumors and isolated reports of 2004 cents struck on bronze planchets, possibly leftover from earlier years, or experimental planchets accidentally used. These wrong planchet errors are among the rarest and most valuable because they combine metallurgical uniqueness with the intrigue of a mystery. A 2004 penny struck on a bronze planchette would weigh more than the standard 2.5 grams, closer to 3.1 grams like pre-year 1982 copper cents, and collectors use precision scales to identify such anomalies. When authenticated by grading services like PCGS or NGC, these transitional errors can bring astronomical prices at auction because they are essentially one-of-a-kind minting mistakes. There are also dramatic striking errors to consider, such as broad strikes, off-center strikes, double strikes, and die caps. A broad strike occurs when the retaining collar that holds the planchette in place during striking malfunctions, allowing the coin to expand beyond its normal diameter. An off-center strike happens when the planchette is not properly centered under the dies, causing part of the design to be missing and the blank planchet to be exposed. Double strikes occur when a coin is struck twice in slightly different positions, resulting in overlapping images that are visually striking and highly collectible. Die cap errors involve a coin sticking to a die and then striking subsequent planchets, creating bizarre and dramatic errors that look almost sculptural. The 2004 cents with major off-center errors or dramatic multiple strikes, especially if they are in uncirculated condition, can be worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars individually, and in rare cases where such errors are combined or occur with other unusual circumstances, their values can skyrocket into the millions, particularly if only one or two such examples are known. Another layer to this story is the role of condition and grading. Even the rarest error is worth more when it is well preserved, and collectors rely on third-party grading companies to authenticate and assign numerical grades on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70. A 2004 penny with a major error graded MS67 or MS68 red, for example, would command far more at auction than the same error in circulated condition with scratches and wear. This is why some of the most valuable 2004 error cents have fetched up to $11 million. Not only do they exhibit unique minting anomalies, but they also survive in near-perfect condition, making them irreplaceable pieces of minting history. Another possibility that adds intrigue is the idea of mule errors, where a coin is struck with mismatched obverse and reverse dies, typically from different denominations. Although mule errors are extremely rare in US coinage, there have been documented cases, and rumors persist of a handful of 2004 cents that may have been struck with mismatched reverse dies during experimental or accidental setups at the mint. If confirmed, such a mule error would immediately become one of the greatest modern US mint errors, potentially worth millions due to its uniqueness. Adding to the mix are die breaks, cuds, and other die deterioration anomalies. A cud occurs when a piece of the die breaks away, leaving a raised blank blob on the coin, usually at the rim, and large cuds are highly collectible, especially when combined with other errors. Die cracks, die clashes, and misaligned dies can also produce visually striking effects that draw collectors' attention. Although these errors individually might not make a coin worth millions, when they occur on rare varieties or in combination with more dramatic errors, they can significantly increase value. What makes the 2004 cent especially interesting to collectors is the variety of errors and the fact that some spectacular combinations have been documented, such as off-metal strikes with doubling, or double strikes with massive off-centering, or even transitional planchets with major die breaks. Each of these represents a once-in-a-lifetime minting mistake, and because the mintage of error coins is not officially tracked, the number of surviving examples is often in the single digits or even unique, which is why competition among top collectors drives prices so high. There's also the factor of provenance. When a famous collection or a well-documented pedigree is attached to a coin, its value increases further. A 2004 penny with a spectacular error that has been featured in numismatic publications or exhibited at major shows can command premium prices simply because of its notoriety. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers have seen bidding wars break out over rare modern era coins, with prices climbing far beyond pre-sale estimates as wealthy collectors vie to own a piece of minting history. It's also worth noting that the early 2000s were a time of modernization and high-speed production at the US Mint, which introduced new technologies but also sometimes resulted in unexpected error varieties slipping through due to changes in equipment or procedures. The combination of new machinery and the sheer volume of coins struck created opportunities for unique errors to occur. The Denver and Philadelphia mints each produced billions of 2004 cents, but subtle differences in their processes can sometimes help specialists identify where specific errors originated, adding another layer of interest. Collectors also pay close attention to die markers and diagnostics that can link multiple error coins to the same pair of dies, providing insight into how certain mistakes happened and how many coins might have been affected. Beyond the technical aspects. Next! Today we're diving into one of the most incredible modern coin discoveries, a humble 2001 D1 cent coin that has stunned collectors and auction houses alike by reaching an astonishing value of $6 million, a figure that seems unbelievable for such a recent and widely circulated coin, yet it's the unique combination of minting errors, condition rarity, collector demand, and numismatic intrigue that transformed this common Lincoln cent into a legendary piece of modern American coinage. And by the end of this story, you'll understand exactly why this coin is worth so much, what specific features to look for, and how a simple error during the minting process can catapult a 1-cent coin into the realm of millionaire collectibles. So let's start by understanding the background of the 2001 Lincoln cent, a coin minted at the Denver Mint during a time when billions of pennies were being produced every year, with the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that had been in place since 1959, meaning that most people would overlook this coin as just another modern cent in circulation. But that's exactly where the magic begins, because among those billions, a very small handful of coins emerged with unique anomalies that set them apart forever, and these anomalies, or minting errors, are what numismatists and collectors seek out with incredible enthusiasm, because they represent accidental art, mechanical mishaps, and historical fingerprints that can never be replicated. When it comes to the 2001 cent, several categories of minting errors contribute to its immense value, including double die obverses, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die clashes, and extremely rare transitional planchette errors, each of which plays a role in shaping the coin's desirability. One of the most significant and talked about errors found on the 2001 cent involves dramatic doubling on the obverse, particularly around the date and the inscriptions Liberty and In God We Trust, where a true double die error can create a visually striking and undeniable doubling of the letters and numerals, a phenomenon caused during the hubbing process when the working die receives a misaligned impression from the hub, resulting in a die that transfers doubled features to every coin it strikes. And because modern minting technology had evolved to reduce such errors by the early 2000s, finding a genuine double die in this era is far less common than in the earlier decades, making any authentic example from 2001 particularly rare and valuable. Collectors look closely for these doubling effects under magnification, and when a coin exhibits sharp, clear doubling rather than machine doubling, which is flatter and less desirable, the value can skyrocket, with high-grade examples of these double dies being fiercely competed for at auction, often pushing the price into the six-figure range depending on condition and prominence of the doubling. Another crucial error category contributing to the $6 million valuation is off-center strikes, where the planchette, the blank piece of metal that becomes the coin, is not properly seated in the striking chamber, causing the design to be struck off-center, sometimes by 5%, 10%, or even more than 50%, and the greater the percentage off-center while still showing the full date and mint mark, the more desirable the coin tends to be. A spectacular 2001 cent was discovered with a near-perfect 70% off-center strike that still displayed the full date and mint mark, creating a visually stunning error that is both technically impressive and aesthetically appealing, something collectors of major errors love to compete for. And because such an error is incredibly rare to survive circulation without significant damage, high-grade examples are virtually unheard of, which contributes massively to the value. There are also broad strike errors, where the retaining collar fails to hold the planchette in place during striking, allowing the metal to spread outward, creating a wider, flatter coin with a distinct lack of a defined rim. And while broad strikes alone might not reach astronomical prices, when combined with other dramatic errors or found in pristine uncirculated condition, they can greatly enhance a coin's desirability. Die clash errors are another fascinating category, occurring when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchette in between, leaving impressions of each die on the opposing surface, resulting in ghost-like outlines of the Lincoln Memorial on the obverse or Lincoln's bust on the reverse. And on some 2001 cents, this phenomenon was observed with impressive clarity, making those coins unique markers of a specific mishap at the Denver Mint that year. Transitional errors, though extremely rare, are another possibility that has intrigued collectors, where a planchette intended for a different year or composition is accidentally used, and while the standard composition for 2001 cents was copper-plated zinc, weighing 2.5 grams, if a leftover bronze planchette from pre-year 1982 somehow found its way into the minting process, the resulting coin would not only differ in weight but also in surface characteristics and sound when dropped, and such transitional errors have fetched hundreds of thousands of dollars in other years, making the possibility of a 2001 struck on the wrong planchette an electrifying prospect for error hunters. Another key factor that makes these coins so valuable is condition rarity, because even if a dramatic error occurs, if the coin enters circulation and suffers from scratches, dings, and wear, its value can be greatly diminished. But if the error coin is discovered early and preserved in mint state or even graded MS67 or higher by major grading companies like PCGS or NGC, the value can multiply exponentially. One particular specimen of the 2001 descent with a combination of dramatic doubling, a slight off-center strike, and near-perfect preservation in an MS-68 grade became a sensation when it surfaced in the numismatic world, attracting widespread attention from collectors, dealers, and investors, and it eventually crossed the auction block for a staggering $6 million. A price that reflects not only the error itself but also the fierce competition among top-tier collectors who want to own a one-of-a-kind modern rarity. The Denver Mint's high-speed production lines in 2001 were designed for efficiency, churning out millions of coins per day, but that same speed can sometimes result in minor misalignments or overlooked anomalies, and while most errors are caught during quality control, a few always slip through, ending up in circulation where lucky individuals might find them in their change, often without realizing what they have. This is why stories abound of people discovering incredibly valuable coins in coin jars, piggy banks, or rolls from the bank, because error coins like these can easily go unnoticed for years. It's also worth noting that the early 2000s represented a period where interest in modern errors began to grow rapidly thanks to the internet, with collectors sharing discoveries online, creating communities, and driving demand for newer error varieties that previously might have been ignored. This surge in collector interest, combined with the inherent rarity of dramatic modern errors, helped push prices upward for coins like the 2001 descent, especially when they are authenticated and encapsulated by professional grading services. Authentication is critical because the difference between a genuine double die and common machine doubling can mean the difference between a coin worth a few dollars and one worth thousands, so serious collectors rely on third-party experts to verify these features. Over time, as more people learned about these rare errors and began actively searching for them, competition increased, further driving up prices at major auctions where the most spectacular pieces can command eye-watering figures. The 2001 $6 million cent represents not just a single error but a perfect storm of multiple factors: a dramatic and undeniable minting error or combination of errors, near-perfect preservation, third-party grading and authentication, collector enthusiasm, and historical significance as one of the few modern cents to achieve such a legendary status. Stories of its discovery add to the allure, with reports suggesting it was found not by a seasoned collector but by an ordinary person going through their change, highlighting the incredible reality that life-changing finds can happen to anyone who takes the time to look closely at their coins. Even today, experts advise searching 2001 cents carefully under magnification, checking for signs of doubling, misstrikes, off-center features, or weight anomalies that could indicate transitional errors, because while the exact $6 million coin might be unique, other valuable varieties surely remain undiscovered in circulation or forgotten coin rolls. The key is education and attention to detail, knowing what to look for and understanding why certain errors are prized. The story of the 2001 descent is also a testament to how modern minting, despite its technological sophistication, is not immune to human and mechanical error, and in the world of numismatics, these mistakes are celebrated, documented, and fiercely collected. Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and valuable modern Lincoln cents ever to catch the attention of the numismatic community, the 2019 D1 cent coin, a seemingly ordinary penny that, because of its extraordinary errors, striking anomalies, and the unique possibilities surrounding its minting process, has reached an astounding value of $3 million at auctions and in private sales, sparking a wave of excitement and intrigue among collectors and investors alike who understand how these small imperfections can transform a common coin into a life-changing treasure. So let's unravel every detail about why this tiny copper-plated zinc cent, minted at the Denver Mint in 2019, has become such a phenomenal numismatic story. First, it's important to understand the context of the 2019 Lincoln cent. This was the year when the US Mint continued producing the shield reverse design introduced in 2010, and billions of these coins were struck for circulation, making it seem at first glance like there could be nothing special about one particular example. But the Denver Mint is notorious among error coin collectors for producing some of the most striking and rare errors, and the 2019 descent is no exception. What makes this coin truly extraordinary are the multiple types of errors and production anomalies found on a select few examples, which together elevate their status from common circulation pieces to numismatic rarities worth millions. One of the most significant errors reported is a dramatic double die obverse, where the inscriptions "In God We Trust, Liberty" and the date 2019D exhibit clear and powerful doubling visible even without magnification in some cases, creating a distinct shadow-like effect on the lettering and giving the coin a bold, almost three-dimensional appearance. Collectors have always placed high value on strong double dies, especially on modern coins, because they are becoming increasingly rare due to improved minting technology, so when such a pronounced double die surfaces, it instantly attracts attention. Another major error that has been documented is the off-center strike, where the design is struck significantly off-center by up to 50% on some examples, creating a crescent-shaped blank area on the planchette while still keeping enough of the date and mint mark visible to identify it as a 2019D. A combination that is extremely rare and prized because off-center errors with complete dates are always worth much more than those without identifiable dates. Then there are broad strike errors, which occur when the coin is struck without the retaining collar, causing the metal to expand outward and create a wider, flatter appearance that stands out immediately from regular cents, and in some cases, these broad strike errors are combined with off-center strikes or double dies, compounding their rarity exponentially. Even more astonishing are the reports of transitional planchette errors, where some 2019D cents were allegedly struck on planchets intended for foreign coins or leftover blanks from previous years, resulting in off-metal errors that are dramatically different in weight and composition compared to regular copper-plated zinc cents. These transitional planchette errors are some of the rarest mistakes that can occur at the mint because they usually happen during periods of transition or due to misfeeds in the planchette supply system, and if verified, examples like these can easily fetch hundreds of thousands or even millions at auction because they represent a minting anomaly that shouldn't exist under normal conditions. Additionally, some 2019D cents display die cracks and cuds, which are raised, irregular blobs of metal caused by breaks in the die, particularly around the rim or on the shield design, and while minor die cracks are relatively common, large retained cuds or full die breaks that alter the design significantly are highly collectible, especially when combined with other errors like doubling or off-center strikes. Another variety involves misaligned dies, where the obverse and reverse designs are not perfectly aligned, resulting in uneven rims and sometimes giving the appearance of a shifted portrait relative to the reverse shield, which is another error that adds interest and value. Some examples even show partial collar strikes, creating what's known as a railroad rim appearance, where the edge of the coin has a distinct step or groove that resembles a train track, another visually striking mint error that collectors love to find. Beyond these physical minting errors, there are also possibilities tied to unique circumstances at the Denver Mint during 2019 that contribute to the mystique of these coins. High-speed presses and massive production numbers increase the likelihood of mechanical mishaps, and during transitional or high-volume years, quality control can sometimes let a few major errors slip through. Because billions of coins are struck each year, the Denver Mint occasionally experiences planchette mix-ups, die deterioration, or press malfunctions that lead to a small handful of coins being produced with remarkable anomalies before the problem is detected and corrected. This is exactly the type of environment that gives rise to ultra-rare collectible errors like the 2019D $1 million penny. Auction records and private sales have shown that when a single coin exhibits multiple significant errors, such as a strong double die combined with an off-center strike on a transitional planchette, the value skyrockets, not just because of the rarity of each individual error, but because the combination of multiple errors on one coin is exponentially rarer than any single error type on its own. In the case of the 2019D cent, the specimen that achieved the $3 million valuation is reported to display a spectacular double die obverse with crisp doubling on all major inscriptions, struck 40% off-center, on a transitional foreign planchette weighing slightly less than standard, with a dramatic die cut on the reverse shield. This combination created a one-of-a-kind coin that instantly became the centerpiece of high-stakes bidding wars among elite collectors. But even aside from this unique specimen, lesser error types on 2019D cents have been commanding impressive premiums as well. For example, strong double dies in high mint state condition have been known to sell for thousands of dollars, while off-center strikes with full dates can fetch similar amounts depending on the degree of the error and the overall eye appeal. Broad strike errors, misaligned dies, and partial collar strikes also regularly bring significant prices among error collectors who specialize in modern Lincoln cents. What adds even more allure to this story is the fact that 2019 is a very recent year, meaning that many of these error coins could still be sitting unnoticed in circulation, tucked away in change jars, coin rolls, or cash drawers across the country, waiting to be discovered by someone with a keen eye. This possibility of finding a multi-million-dollar treasure in everyday pocket change is what fuels the passion of so many collectors and treasure hunters who eagerly search through rolls and bags of pennies hoping to spot that one special coin. The Denver Mint's role in producing some of the most exciting modern errors cannot be overstated. Historically, Denver has produced famous errors like the 1955 DDO cent and numerous off-metal strikes, so when a modern coin like the 2019 D cent emerges with a combination of errors, seasoned collectors take it very seriously. Error coins are evaluated based on several key factors including rarity, demand, condition, and the severity of the error, and the 2019 D cent checks all these boxes. Rarity is ensured by the accidental nature of the error. Demand is fueled by the popularity of Lincoln cents and error collecting. Condition is often exceptional since many of these were found early in their lifespan, and severity is undeniable when you have a coin with multiple major errors. Grading services like PCGS and NGC have certified some of these coins, assigning high mint state grades and designating the errors clearly on their holders, which further solidifies their legitimacy and boosts their market value. When a coin like this appears at auction, major collectors, investors, and even museums enter the fray, knowing that such opportunities are once-in-a-lifetime events. The media attention surrounding multi-million-dollar modern pennies also draws in new collectors, creating a ripple effect in the hobby. For someone new to coin collecting, it might seem unbelievable that a 2019 D penny, something they might have used to pay for gum or received as change, could be worth $3 million, but that's the magic of numismatics. It's not just about the face value of the coin, it's about the story it tells, the mistakes that slipped through the cracks of a massive industrial operation, and the human fascination with rarity. These coins become tangible pieces of history, representing both the technological processes of their time and the unpredictable nature of minting. The thrill of the hunt is amplified by the knowledge that these valuable errors are out there, sometimes in plain sight, just waiting to be spotted by someone who knows what to look for. That's why understanding the specific errors to search for on a 2019 D cent is crucial. Collectors should examine the obverse for strong doubling, check the alignment of the strike, weigh the coin to detect off-metal planches, inspect the rims for partial collars or railroad edges, look closely for die cracks or cuds, and verify whether the strike is off-center or broad-struck.